Hey there, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Book Reviews with Johnny Boy. Today, I'm going to discuss Japanese style gardens, written or published by the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And it's a lot of different authors contributed. And Brian Funk, Sarah Schmidt are editors. So this book has a lot of lovely photographs, examples of Japanese style gardens. So I didn't take myself to be someone who loves Japanese style gardens, maps, but I'm uniquely qualified is not the right word, but uniquely suited to read a book like this. So this was a book that came to us via a friend as a gift. So I am a gardener, and I'm married to a Japanese woman. I lived in Japan for about 20 months, around 2011, 2012. Speak the language a bit. Did tons of walking there. I even had a chance to garden in Japan. I was put in charge of my father-in-law's garden because he moved out, left us in the apartment while we were there. And I wanted to be. I could have said no if I didn't want to, but I took over and I gardened in Japan with what tools are available to Japanese gardeners, and in a small space. But so anyway, so I picked this up because it was sitting on our shelf, and I'm like, maybe I'll just read the first few pages, and I just decided, let me just read the whole thing because it explains the philosophy behind Japanese gardens or Japanese inspired gardens, rocks, water, having evergreens, what kind of flowers and foliage, the architecture that might be on the grounds. It might be a bridge or a gateway. It might be, a stone pagoda or something like that. And there's a lot that goes into it. And, I've seen a lot of Japanese gardens being in Japan, and which, I'm very familiar with the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens here in Brooklyn. And I guess until I read the book, I didn't fully realize that this sense of nature and peace and exploration that it evokes is actually very premeditated. It's all very intentional, and it requires tons of patience. I learned about what kind of trees that are used, and kare sansui is this, like when you use a lot of rocks, like small rocks to create this kind of dry garden, but then within it you place a few big rocks in an asymmetrical way to give it a sense almost like islands in the water. And you're not supposed to walk there, so it's like a meditative experience to look at, or soothing. Also, I didn't know that Japanese gardens are not they're not connected to Buddhism or Shintoism even. Of course they're connected, but they're not they don't derive from that. It's not the purpose. It's not a religious thing. It's more from rich families throughout the centuries who want to use their wealth to create a peaceful spot, or to, in some cases, like before you have a meeting with the warlords, you make them walk through your peaceful garden on your land so that it settles them before you discuss whatever kind of political stuff might come up. And tea ceremony was a part of that. So yeah, I have this Japanese kind of culture cultural awareness and curiosity. So learning about the gardens in a book like this was definitely worth it. Gave me different ideas about how to approach my garden, the gardens that I take care of here in Brooklyn. Of course, I don't have the space or funds to create a Japanese garden, but just to think of gardens with different sort of philosophy. A single well-placed ornament, like a stone lantern, can add important visual impact. An array of stones with good shape can be composed to great effect. Kind of makes me want to visit some more Japanese gardens. Anyway, also like how to do a tour. Someone explains that, what kind of questions you might want to ask. You want to keep the tour small, keep it to 30 minutes, play a game, encourage people to explore, the garden, or to continue the exploration afterwards, or what a full moon bridge is. I learned a lot. And if you're into Japanese gardens, this is a good reference book. It talks about a lot of gardens in the US and I think a few in Canada. Japanese style gardens. So it doesn't really focus on too many gardens in Japan. References them briefly, but it's more about how to do a Japanese style garden in outside of the country, in this case US, Canada. And of course you got to use the native foliage. Sometimes not every plant that grows well in Japan is going to grow well in another country or another type of environment. That's all for this one. Good read. I did read cover to cover, and I recommend it to anybody who's interested in Japanese style gardens. You kind of have to be interested in that particular topic, or you love Japan and just want to know more about it, or you love gardening and you want some expanded ideas. Anyway, that's all for now. Ciao, or should I say sayonara.